escape you. The last second wide open three-pointer missed by Colin Sexton. Otherwise, that we would be talking about a very different outcome for the Chicago Bulls in this game. But we're going to break it down, have some fun, all that and more. But first, going to play that winning intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
The Chicago Bulls get their second overall in a row victory on this road trip, this 4-game road trip, winning 119-117 against the Utah Jazz. And honestly, despite the Bulls having a collapse in the fourth quarter where they lose that fourth quarter by 12 points, the Bulls should have won this game anyway. This is where we talk about the Bulls and not really knowing how to close out games, which has been evident with this team. Now, they do still win the game. That's the most important thing. Of another big performance by DeMar DeRozan down the stretch of this game. He has 29 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal in this game. Nikola Vucevic with another big game as well. 11 of 18 from the field, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists. Coby White, who was thrilling throughout the game with 25 points. He goes 9 of 15 from the field, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 block in this game from Coby White. Alex Caruso with 11 points, and Ayo Dosunmu only with 8 points. He goes 2 of 12 from the field. This is one of the coldest shooting games that Ayo Dosunmu has had in a month plus, so we'll give him a little bit of credit with that. Even with that cold shooting night, still 9 assists, really good defense, 2 rebounds, 1 steal in this game. Julian Phillips plays 15 minutes off the bench. He goes 2 of 3 from three-point range for 6 points. Andre Drummond has 10 and 6 off the bench for the Chicago Bulls. Only 17 minutes played for Drum. Javon Carter leads the Chicago Bulls in minutes off the bench today. 7 points from him, 1 assist. He goes 3 of 5 from the field. I'll give him a little credit with that. Ernulop, only 6 minutes. Doesn't play any in the second half of this game, but the Bulls pull out the 119-117 victory in this game. John Collins with 25 points. Colin Sexton with 24 points. Jordan Clarkson with 15 points. The Utah Jazz in this game had 6 players scoring double-digit, and that's what I talked about on today's pre-recorded video, is that you cannot sleep on this Utah Jazz team because they do have the ability to spread the ball around and get a lot of players involved in it. And in the fourth quarter, it really paid off big for them. It sucks that the Bulls weren't able to close this game out stronger, but I am glad they still won. Now, when people talk about DeMar DeRozan, this is how important DeMar DeRozan is in close games for the Chicago Bulls. DeMar DeRozan scores 17 points for the Chicago Bulls. There's no other player that even scores double digits in this game. The next player closest to him in scoring in the fourth quarter was Nikola Vucevic with 4 points. As great as Coby White was in this game, he does have 2 assists in the fourth quarter, but he goes 0 of 1 in this game in the fourth quarter, only taking 1 shot. You get 2 points from Andre Drummond, 2 points from Javon Carter. But other than that, the fourth quarter was the DeMar DeRozan show yet again, and you got to give credit out for DeMar DeRozan being able to score the way that he did, like 6 of 12 from the field, also 5 free throws in that fourth quarter to help the Bulls secure the victory, avoid overtime again. Another clutch game for the Chicago Bulls, another clutch victory for the Chicago Bulls. We get out-rebounded 45-38 in this game, plays a big part in why things were the way they were. Also, second chance points. The Utah Jazz had 22 second chance points in this game. The Chicago Bulls only had 8. Points in the paint, 54-48 in favor of the Utah Jazz, and bench points, 35-23 again in favor of the Utah Jazz. The Bulls did win the fast break points battle with 15-4, so we had a really big balance in that. There were 4 lead changes in this game. The Utah Jazz only held the lead for 33 seconds overall in this game. The game was tied 5 different times. The Bulls had 97 possessions in this game. And so, the Bulls did some really good things in there. I like how the Bulls came out with energy to start the game. But once again, the Bulls just have to figure out how to close basketball games. They have to. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter, right? So even though there's a lot of more positive than bad in this game for the Chicago Bulls, but your inability to close out this game made this game closer than what it needed to be down the stretch. And hopefully that's something the team and Billy Donovan look at as well. Figure out some things there with that energy aspect of it. But overall, really glad that the Chicago Bulls won this game. That is the most important victory, to get a win, especially against a Utah Jazz team that was missing Laurie, missing Keontae George, missing Walter Kessler, missing Taylor Hendricks. So, those four players that are all big pieces of their rotation, the fact that, you want the Bulls to take advantage of that, especially now that they go in, they got games against Golden State Warriors, they got a game against the Clippers coming up still on this road trip. And so getting this type of win is good. They get a day off. No, they don't get a day off. I'm sorry. We actually play a back-to-back tomorrow, which is going to be tough for the team as we travel to Golden State to take on the Golden State Warriors tomorrow, which is a late game, 9 p.m. Chicago start time on that game. So it's going to be another late night for us here at Chicago Bulls Central tomorrow. But I'm glad that the team was able to pull out the victory. That's the most important thing here. They got the win, and now let's keep it going. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully they learn from this. Game against the Golden State Warriors is going to be tough, right? I know the Warriors have had a very much up and down season. They're 32-28 on the season so far, but again, above 500. This is a team that you don't want to take lightly. You talk about teams that can absolutely fill it up against you. That's what the Golden State Warriors can do. Right now, the 10th seed in the Western Conference. Funny enough, though, with those 32 wins, if they were in the Eastern Conference, they'd still be only the 9th seed. So there you go with that one. But the Bulls now get their 30th victory on the season. We move to 30-32 now, 2 games below 500 with 2 tough games coming up. So I'm over the 500 watch, right? I'm not talking about the Bulls, really their chance to get over 500, just win basketball games. And, especially with Atlanta getting a win tonight, we maintain our 2-game advantage over the Atlanta Hawks in that play-in race in the Eastern Conference, which is very important. So, like I said, more good than bad I'm personally going to take from this game, but the bad in this game is concerning. And I think that's fair to say for this team, and considering where they've been and how they've handled the season so far. So a lot of positive to take away. It's good that Kobe White is back playing like we need Kobe White to play, right? Out of that slump for sure. The last 3 games for Kobe have all been very solid games for him. Another above 500 shooting a night for him. So that's positive. The 6 rebounds, 6 assists for Kobe White, 1 block, all going to be important for him. But yeah, we just got to tighten some things up. Get back to getting Io in rhythm as well. Get back to playing in transition. Io's due for a cold night. Like, it's going to happen. It happens to every player. I'm not too concerned about that. But we're going to need all hands on deck tomorrow for the Golden State Warriors, especially defensively. And so, we'll see how the Bulls fare in that one. That's a game where I expect Drummond, Julian Phillips to play a lot. Ernie Locke can be important for that, or Javon Carter. We talk about Javon Carter not playing. He leads the team in minutes off the bench today. So, it is what it is when it comes down to that. But solid victory for the Chicago Bulls against a tough Utah Jazz team that is well coached. This team is a very well coached team. And now the Bulls just got to go build off this one, see what they can bring, see what they can continue to do. And let's hope that it all pays off for the Bulls, right? You take nothing for granted in the NBA. You never want to just assume any type of victory. And the Bulls are a perfect example of that. You cannot assume victory with the Chicago Bulls team. You just can't, because of the way things go. You can never assume a victory regardless of the opponent, regardless of who's in, regardless of who's out. You just can't do it, man. So, we'll see what happens with that one, man. The Bulls get the victory in this one. Love the fact that they got a victory. We need it. 2 games below 500. Maintain our advantage in that Eastern Conference play-in race. And we'll see how the Bulls can continue to build off this going forward and see what comes next of it for the Bulls. So let's hope that. Let's go ahead and get into your guys' comments. See how you guys are feeling about tonight. We got JK in the building, says, nice win. Absolutely. Pop Punk fifth. Pop Punk fifth. Says C-Reg, glad to have you in the building as well, brother. T. Craig, sit down, please. Well, listen, Torrey Craig is ready to get back in some basketball games, right? So I like how once the things started going the way that they were going, he kind of went to the side a little bit, like, yeah, sit down. Chris Fleming got choked a little bit out there. Like, shout out to Chris. He got choked a little bit, but shout out to Chris Fleming for not backing down. A win is a win, even if the Bulls damn near made me have a mental breakdown. Hey, the cardiac Chicago Bulls, man, they're gonna cause heartache. That's just what they do. Real boneheaded move by Craig to instigate that shit, but Collins is a bitch regardless. Yeah, he was that anyway, though. Man, they gave me a heart attack. Holy shit, haha. But what was that fight about? Torrey Craig talking shit. Torrey Craig talking shit. Utah is still owned by the Bulls fame. I mean, they're never beating those allegations. Who the fuck John Collins think he is? He's trying to wrap his obese fingers around Chris Fleming's neck because he don't get the opportunity to choke his. Wow, she don't want him or his fat ass fingers there. Okay, hey, I mean, you like that. That seemed a little bit targeted there, brother. Seemed a little bit targeted. I'm not gonna lie to you. OG Mom says longest 10 seconds I ever watched. Well, you didn't say the longest 10 seconds you ever participated in, which I think tells a lot, but we've all been there. We've all had a 10-second day, right? No, we haven't. I mean, that's mainly just you, but I'm trying to support you in the love. So it is what it is there. I know the Bulls fans cry about fouls a lot, but can we speak on how little we've been getting foul calls recently? Feels like the only time the refs ever give us the nod in clutch time recently. Well, here's what I'll say. The foul calls are usually closer than what it feels like, right? And I think it's the timely fouls. For example, in this game, 13-14 in favor of the Utah Jazz, right? So again, it definitely felt that way, but I think we get kind of like either foul calls early or late, and the other team kind of gets them more consistent throughout the game. And, it is what it is there, man. That got a little crazy at the end, but thank goodness we pulled this one out. Beep, 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 beep. All right, Missy. The assistant coach was just trying to break up the group. He did nothing wrong. Yeah, Chris Fleming did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. How did Sexton miss that, bro? Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Low key, I'm not gonna lie to you. When Colin Sexton was wide open in the corner, wide enough open that he had time to set. He set his shot, readjusted himself, and then took the three and still missed it. There was no, listen, it was the demons of Utah in the building that kept them from winning that game today, because I'll tell you what, Colin Sexton probably 9 times out of 10 makes that shot. Damn, 2 people not playing in the game almost cost us the game. That's actually really funny. That's actually really funny. Sports Prodigy says, I honestly don't want to hear any slander. Shit not always look pretty, but I'll take a 2-0 start on the road trip. Well, slander and criticism are different, right? But you're gonna hear criticism because that's how you review. If you review something and don't have any critiques or criticism, you're not doing it right. But I will say, like, yeah, they pulled out the victory, which is the most important thing, is that they pulled out the victory. I think that was a moving screen against Alex. Collins took him out. Do you feel the Bulls team is undisciplined? Yeah, Chris Fleming got choked by Collins, but what the fuck was Torrey Craig doing off the bench during the DeMar foul, which wasn't that bad of a foul, costly? I mean, listen, Melvin, sometimes I think you look for depth where there isn't none there. The Bulls as a team, I wouldn't say are an undisciplined team. That doesn't mean that they can't have an undisciplined moment. That was just silly. That was just a silly moment to get into. But luckily, it went our way, right? Not as far as the foul call, but it is what it is there. We still got the victory. These Jazz fans talking about perfect tanking loss, laughing my ass off. They high on copium. That's hilarious. Marvelous DeRozan. Glad we got lucky in the end. DeMar saved us. Good shooting from Kobe. Keep up the good work, Haize. Yeah, listen, Kobe hot throughout that game, right? And that's why it's like it's the ebbs and flows of a game. DeMar DeRozan, as we've said before, he's there to be the calming factor. He's there to be the player that can get you a bucket when your team can't score. And that's what DeMar has done consistently here more times than not. People like to go to he's being a ball hog when they see him play his game, but I think they sometimes don't look at the fact that he's doing it because the team isn't scoring. And he is the one in times like that to get a bucket or get to the foul line. That's an art. Do I think Kobe can get to that point of getting to the foul line a little bit more consistently? Yeah, he's shown a little bit about that now. We just got to keep it going, man. Myrtle B says, man, the Bulls didn't dodge their bullet tonight, but a win is a win. Props to Kobe White, DeMar DeRozan, Io Vooch, and the bench. Yeah, listen, they got it done. That's the most important thing. You got it done. You can learn from it. Definitely got it done. I didn't understand Caruso fouling when we were up 3. It only made the game more uncomfortable when only risk would have been overtime. I'm not a fan of this dub, but a dub nonetheless. Well, so that's your strategy, right? Because why give them a chance to tie the game? The foul call was a game plan. That wasn't just Caruso going to business for himself. That's part of the game plan. Theoretically, it's this, right? Had that, for example, had the whole tisk not happen and they didn't get a technical free throw, Had that, you foul them, you're up by 2. DeMar DeRozan goes, he gets to the free throw line, he hits his 2 free throws, the Bulls are up by 3. Then that Colin Sexton 3 isn't a risk to win the game, it's a risk to tie the game. So you kind of extend it. You just give yourself an opportunity to get the ball back with a little bit more time. It's a technique. It happens a lot in basketball. That wasn't the surprising part at all. The refs barely called fouls in the fourth. I think Utah first foul was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. A terrible defensive team. Yeah, they're a bad defensive team, and we gotta be able to close out games better than that. But I like the way that we still got the victory. That's the most important thing. How the hell does Collins get to shove our coach by the neck and not get ejected? The NBA doesn't care about assistant coaches. Utah, they couldn't win in OT, so they had to keep trying for the 3. I mean, I can definitely understand where you're getting at, but I think with the momentum in their hands, if they would have sent it into OT, they would have had the momentum. They would have just had to execute. Now, the Bulls probably, we're going to hope, would have won that regardless, but luckily, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to have that part of the conversation. Shay, Haize, I'm going to say it once, and I'm going to say it again. I understand that we have 2 good rebounding centers, but rebounding is a team thing. What we all know that, Shay, sometimes, Shay, you pick a point and you just keep saying it like somebody argued with you on it. We know team rebounding is a thing. Chi-Town says 500 right around the corner. You know, also is right around the corner. The Clippers and the Warriors are right around the corner. So let's see. Now, if we get past the Warriors, if we get a win against the Warriors tomorrow night, that'll change some things. That'll change some things. But Golden State kills us, man. They kills us. They kill us every single time. Billy D forgot Kobe was having a great game. I'm fine with DeMar getting ISO plays, obviously, but you cannot do that 5 times in a row down the stretch and expect defenses not to adjust. Well, the thing is that it wasn't just that Billy Donovan went away from Kobe. Go and look how the defense was guarding Kobe. They wouldn't have been able to get the ball to Kobe. So you have to make a smart basketball decision. I get it, the hot hand, and I would have loved to see Kobe get an opportunity to close out the game. But with the way that game was going and the way that the defense was playing on Kobe doesn't get to the free throw line like DeMar DeRozan. And I know Kobe's this whole season, Kobe's been the best storyline for the Chicago Bulls. Make no mistake about it. But it still comes to the point where if you're trying to win the game, right, and you're trying to execute that, you got to go with the odds. And the odds are in the situations like that, DeMar's going to get you a bucket or he's going to get to the free throw line. So that jacket smacking Haize. Thank you, K-Trip. Listen, I try to do what I can do when I can do it. That's what I try to do. Sir Mystic the God. What? Okay, well, hey, that's a hell of a username there, brother. Kobe took a step back in the second half. We need him to continue to be aggressive offensively. I thought he was going to get 30 points this game. Again, it's about making the right basketball moves. And I don't think that he took a step back. I think that the Bulls made the right decision as far as strategy. We talk about that a lot. You got to go with the strategy, and that's part of it. And in the second half, it's not like Kobe had a terrible second half. He scored 8 points off 5 shots, but he also had 4 assists. He also got a steal, right? And he made some timely plays there. Now, would I theoretically love to see them go to it more? But when you have a player that's killed you for the most part of the game, guess what? The defense is going to focus on taking the ball out of that player's hands. So didn't notice things were starting to get that hot. Still got the W. No road trip is killing. Golden State Warriors is hard and Clippers even harder. The way the Clippers are playing right now is crazy. So the Bulls got to be prepared for that. I saw on Jazz subreddit, they say, yeah, these Bulls announcers ain't biased at all. First off, they are commentators, but can't expect much intelligence from a Jazz fan. Second, of course, they're going to be biased. Exactly. Like, listen, it is what it is. People do that, man. You cannot play perfect every night. A W for us. I mean, and like I said, keep saying that's the most important thing. And that's not to say that there still aren't things that we absolutely need to take from this game and grow and learn from and develop from. But the most important thing is you got the victory. Now you can go and break down how you got this victory and what went wrong in it and correct those things. Gotcha. Personally, I don't mind it since he was only knocking them down constantly in the fourth. Yeah, I mean, and that's what it comes to, right? DeMar he facilitated a lot and played his role throughout 3/4 of the game. He cooked in the fourth. How did Vooch get ejected recently? And tonight, 4 of our players clearly got hit in the head Our assistant coach got choked. Nobody gets in much trouble. Officiating is so inconsistent, it's ridiculous. That's one thing the NBA definitely has to do. The way games are called, and that I mean the officiates, the officials have their a level of autonomy, right? But we gotta get everything on the same page. Colin Sexton reminded me of Ben Gordon back in the day with the Bulls jersey. The Jazz are tough out for most teams. I won't say that he because Ben Gordon wouldn't have missed that shot. Let's be clear. Ben Gordon wouldn't have missed that shot. I don't think Colin Sexton is the shooter that Ben Gordon was, but he's better defensively, and he's still not great defensively. But there are, I guess I can see some of the similarities. I've been watching DeMar shoot free throws for the longest time. I notice if something's off with DeMar's free throw shooting mechanic. These past few games, he's been consistent with his free throw shooting. Did somebody say something was off with his free throw shooting? I didn't see it. Chi-Town Shogun says the hat and jacket are fire. Appreciate that. I'm trying. G, God is God. What's up with all these gods and what are we doing here? Ugly dub, especially after the altercation that happened by our bench. I mean, yeah, but it's a dub nonetheless, right? Colin's still mad for the dog. Oh, man, that was funny. That was one of the funniest moments last season. Was that last season before? Where, because I said, I was like, we were celebrating on the carcass of John Collins. I will never forget that. It was an Io hit the game winner, and like he landed on John Collins, and all the Bulls were just on top of him celebrating, and Collins was just at the at the bottom of the pile, like, hey, wait, whoa. And Seaway's World says they sound like Drive Home Safely Chicago, beep beep. That's my favorite outro. Now, the favorite outro is Pat the designer with that stupid music he plays after every win. Man, I didn't know Chris Dunn was on the Jazz. Chris Dunn? Should mean Chris Dunn. Oh, yeah. Chris Dunn. You spelled it without the K. My brain didn't correct. Yeah, he's been on the Jazz since last season. He's playing pretty well for them. He has a very specialized role, but he's playing pretty well for them. Even though Io didn't follow through, did you notice Billy leave the bench to call his number? Did he? Well, good. I agree. Fleming got choked, but gets teed up. I know, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. And the big homie in the building says, first and foremost, the jacket is nasty, bro. I know this might not be popular opinion, but last year we lose this game, this growth, and I'll take it. Hey, that's definitely a perspective to have on that, brother. Like, the thing overall is that the Bulls in clutch games this season, we talked about it, they are a completely different team in the clutch this season. Like, a completely different team. So where it's gone from at times, especially last year when games got close, you started worrying like, hey, are the Bulls going to be able to pull this one out? What are they going to be able to do? More times than not, the Bulls are able in clutch games now, able to get the victory. Like, they play extremely well, both defensively and offensively in clutch games. And so you got to give them the credit for that. I think Shea likes rebounding. Hey, Shea just likes making points. That's the thing about it. We still look the same in the stats. One of the worst offenses in 3-point percentage in the league again. Well, I mean, yeah, that we don't have 3-point shooting. Like, yeah, it is what it is. That just is what it is. But even with that said, though, we still since January, we have like the 12th best record in the NBA. So, like, yeah, I get it. Our offense is definitely flawed, and we definitely need to look at how we're going to help solidify that a little bit more this offseason. We're still winning games. How many times do we have to hear the Bulls against the shorthanded fill in the name here? When every single game we are playing shorthanded, nobody ever acknowledges that. Nobody cares. Like, let's be clear. Nobody cares. Like, and it sucks. Is it unfair? Yeah, holy double standard, Batman, but that's just the way it is at this point. BKR Sports says, I think people always underestimate teams with players out. Well, the replacements may not be as consistently good. They're still on an NBA roster and would be more hyped to prove themselves. Well, I think it comes down to this, right? People look at, for example, Lauri Markkanen was out in this game, and people tend to look at it like, okay, who's going to score the 24 points or whatever that Lauri Markkanen's averaging? When really, when you go in and you have to go to your depth, it makes you kind of more dangerous because now you have to spread that ball out, right? We saw that. We were a benefit of that. When DeMar and Zach were out and then Vooch missed some time, one of the things that it benefited, and that was while Kobe White was having his rise, but it's like, all right, where's the offense coming from? It's hard to game plan for that. You don't have that type of tape on those players. So again, that's not to excuse it. You still want to play better than that, but it is what it is, man. Just want to take a moment to give Haize his flowers for his fair covering of DeMar. Every time DeMar closes the game does not mean that that was his choice or the team's choice. Objectivity is key. And listen, and those that know, I'm not a DeMar DeRozan guy. Like, I'm not. Like, anytime somebody asks, what would you like the Bulls to see? Hey, at the trade deadline, move DeMar DeRozan, get some assets back. But I still am going to give an objective view of it. And DeMar DeRozan down the stretch of this game is why the Bulls were able to win this game. Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic especially as well, they absolutely did things as well that are big parts of this win. But DeMar DeRozan and his ability in that fourth quarter to get a bucket or get to the free throw line, it really does help the Bulls more than it hurts. Let's go, bad boy Bulls. Glad to see us pull out the win, but these close games are getting to me. I mean, listen, I'll tell you what. I get excited about the close games. I'm not. It is what it is when it comes down to it, man. Damn, I just checked the box score and didn't realize that Iowa was that bad from the field. 2 for 12 was wild. He should have made the layup on the 2-on-1 fast break, but I guess that type of shit just happens sometimes. Yeah, listen, every player has. Hell, Kobe White has had tons of bad games here recently, right? Like, as far as shooting wise, sometimes the shot isn't always going to be there for you. That's why, like, when me and Pat talk about Io over on Locked On Bulls, he always goes to Io doesn't give you 20 points every night. It's like, that's not technically his role, right? You don't have to do that. So, it's going to be nights of bad shooting from every player in the NBA. But the thing is that when Io isn't shooting the ball well, guess what? He's still playing excellent defense. He's still giving you that effort defensively that still helps you win basketball games. And he did it today. The jacket is the freshest thing I've seen since they found that Chris produced the organic spots. The ending part of that is throwing me. I'm sure it's just me being high, but it is what it is. Haize, will there be any suspension handed out to the bench during the altercation? Love the win. See, right? I doubt it. I don't think there's any. I don't think anybody left and went onto the court like during regulation or anything like that. Now, maybe the NBA looks at John Collins choking a coach and maybe gives him a game, but I don't see anything too egregious. I don't. All these close clutch games may be a blessing in disguise for our young guys because all it's doing is giving our young guys way more experience in the clutch. I can only see that as a positive. That's a great way to look at it. Great way to look at it, brother. BKR Sports says, smash the like button, guys, and subscribe if you're new here. Only 2.6K to hit 20K. Smash it. Best Bulls content in the business. Yes, we are 2.6K away from our goal of 20,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Are we going to make it there? Hell no, probably not. That's a lot of subscribers to get in like 19 games, but here's what I'll say. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you want the best, the most in-depth and detailed and consistent Chicago Bull analysis, even in the offseason. There's no better place than Chicago Bulls Central. And that's not a slight to any of the other channels, but I'm the only true daily Chicago Bulls channel. I'm the only one that goes super in detail on draft prospects like I do in the offseason. And then you get the analysis, you get the breaking news videos. Hit that subscribe button. If you think you're subscribed to the channel, double check. I post so much. I'm in a lot of people's algorithms. They think they're subscribed. They find out that they're not. So hit that subscribe button. King of the Fourth back at it again. DeMar with the clutch free throws. Like you said, he's the bucket getter when the Bulls go on a drought. He is huge to have on nights like this. Facts. And if DeMar DeRozan does leave next year, let's just say that the Bulls and him can't reach an agreement, whatever happens, it's going to be interesting to see who steps up in moments like that. Now, again, that's going to open up an opportunity for somebody else to maybe grow and learn how to close games. I'm not saying that's a reason to just let DeMar DeRozan walk for nothing, but I'm just saying if that happens, regardless of the situation that brings it about, it'll be interesting to see how the Bulls counteract that of not having a player like DeMar in fourth quarters out there in close games. I'm sure Io's mad at himself, so I'm glad the Bulls won because that would have really got to Io if they lost. I don't disagree with you. Nate GTV says, Haize, do you follow the Fighting Illini? Yes, them and Notre Dame. I follow. Those are probably the two college teams that I watch closely. But yeah, definitely. Actually, we're looking to add a Fighting Illini a show to the network. There's one that I'm talking with. They're going over other options. Apparently, like, yeah, other people also are after them. So if that doesn't happen, then we'll definitely be looking for hosts for a Fighting Illini show. That's not just to cover the basketball. That's to cover the whole entire Illinois, sports spectrum. So if you're a big Illinois fan and you're interested in getting into the podcasting game, there may be the podcast that I'm talking to gets first dibs on the Nile Central if that's what we make. But if you guys are interested in it, hit me up on Twitter or whatever else. We'll see. Maybe something presents itself, but like I said, the other show gets the priority because I really want to work with that guy, and we'll see what comes about from that. I literally thought this game was over with Sexton being wide open. Thank God for that miss. I think he was so open because Caruso got held by Collins. Yeah, he did. Like somebody said earlier, it was a moving screen. It could have been called for that. They didn't, but hey. Do you think Zach requested a trade at the wrong time? Also, do you think his value is lowering because the Bulls are playing better without him, or his injuries hurting him more? I think it's a combination of both, honestly. I think the Bulls, because if you already have a question on how a player impacts winning and their team is winning without them, it's just going to make those questions bigger. Another question that teams had was his ability to stay healthy. So I think it's a combination of both those things, to be honest with you. It's BS you're not at 100K. Well, I don't think there's any Bulls focus channel that's at 100K. I think Bull Central with Jamal is the closest. I think he's at like 38. So when you have one specific team and then one specific team that hasn't won anything meaningful in 15 years, it's kind of difficult to get up to that level. But listen, the way that I look at it is this: what we've been able to build here with Chicago Bull Central, it feels better, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Do I want the success? Do I want to be able to say I have the number one subscribe to Chicago Bulls channel? Yeah, I absolutely would. But I think more important than that is that while we're building there organically to get there, I know you guys, right? Like, I know Delbert and his crazy ass. I know Shay, right? I know Sydney. I know Archangel. I know Brandon L. Jet, right? I know OTR. I know BKR Sport. Like, I know these guys. And so we've really been able to build this community. And I think it's important to lay that foundation because, listen, whenever the Bulls hopefully get to being that team that's a top 10 in the Eastern Conference, we're going to have a great foundation of a community that as people and bandwagon fans jump on and things like that, we're going to be able to have a solid enough community already that they're going to be able to come into something and get something special out of it. So, I appreciate that. And if I didn't mention you by name in there, I ain't forget about you. I would literally be here all day just naming names. So there you go on that one. Michael Hines in the building says, "My guy Haize, peace, love, bro. Thank you for being consistent with the after game analysis." Listen, I'm happy to say, so the Milwaukee game was the only game this season that we have not had a post game show. Now, I haven't always been on them. Steve-O, Big Kev stepped in for me, I think, on 2 games this season when I had things going on. But we only missed one, and that was because, listen, I'm not even gonna lie to you. We got our asses kicked, and I fell asleep. That game wasn't over with till like midnight. And I'm not gonna lie to you, we were getting our asses kicked. I was pissed off, and I don't know what happens to y'all, but sometimes I get so mad that the only option is to break something or to go to sleep. I chose the less violent option on that one. And then I woke up and I was like, I'm gonna still do the post game show. And I'm like, no, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. So Big Rail says, "Drip, that jacket go crazy. Where you get that?" This I remembered. I ordered it from Rally Sports. So that's where I got this one from. And the back is dope. The back is the dopest part. That's the dopest part of the jacket. I love that it says Chicago and has the Bulls on the back. Get Haize to 100K, and the Bulls will probably have to have him officially host for the team as a content creator on their payroll under most likely NBCS Chicago. I mean, listen, I love what those guys do over NBC Chicago, man. They do great shit over there, man. Haize, what's good, my G? Just keep being legendary. Love from San Antonio, brother. Shout out to you, VO Walker. Haize is the Don of the Bulls Mafia. The Don of the Bulls Mafia is crazy. We love you, Haize. Without you, I wouldn't understand sports one bit. Love the community you built. Thank you. We built. I didn't build this by myself. We built this. When's the last time the Bulls made good old Haize break something? It's been a minute. Now, the Bears, for those that were watching the Bears live stream, so my chair here, I literally threw halfway across the room. I can't remember which game it was. It was the game that we were up by double digits in the fourth quarter, but still ended up losing the game. I literally picked up my chair and tossed it halfway across the room. Like, so people, I love the Bulls, and everybody knows that. Love the Bulls. I'm a huge Bulls fan. That's why I do this every day. But the reason why I started Chicago Bulls Central before I started Chicago Bears Central is because the Bears just grind my gears a little bit more than the Bulls. Like, I could take a Bulls loss, I think, because there's 82 games in the season, and I could be like, damn, that sucked. Damn, I'm pissed off, and be cool, right? Because we play again in 2 days. When the Bears lose or they lose in a row, like, keep in mind, the Bulls can lose 2 games in a row and then somehow still win 2 more games before the end of the week. If the Bears win 2, 3 games, lose 2 or 3 games in a row, that's 3 weeks of nothing but losing. That shit pisses me off. Not even gonna lie to you. I'm getting frustrated just thinking about it now. I hate when the Bears lose, man. Wow, the back of that jacket. Yeah, the back is my favorite part. The back is definitely my favorite part. Big Rail says, I remember that chair broke. Yeah, listen, the chair still broke. It's held together right now by gaff tape. For those that understand what gaff tape is, it's really held together by gaff tape. Like, if I lean too far, which side is it on? This one, I'm down. My fat ass is down. That's what's going to happen. With all these road wins, it's going to make us keep the same roster because I'm ready to start rebuild time to develop the younger player. Also, your Bull swag be lit as fuck, for real, for real. Thank you for that, Rob. Listen, this team isn't going to go full rebuild regardless. AK's already said it. They're not going to go full rebuild regardless of it. And so it comes down to that, man. Bro, the back of that jacket definitely raises the bar. That's what I felt too, right? Like, the front, don't get me wrong, the front is dope. It's saying Chicago front, but there's no Bulls logo in. Like, most of my varsity jackets have like the Bulls on the sleeve or something. But the back is what sets that jacket off, man. By the way, the Bulls are on a 3-game winning streak. Is it 3-game? Oh, you're right. It is a 3-game winning streak. So, listen, keep it going. Keep it going is all I can say, right? Let's make it 4-0. Let's beat the Golden State Warriors. Let's keep it going. No, it's a 2-game winning streak because we lost against Milwaukee. So, no, it's a 2-game winning streak. We won against Sacramento. We won against Utah. We lost against Milwaukee on March 1st. Look at you trying to correct me and being wrong. It's a 2-game win streak. Low Key says, been here since the start of the season, mainly just lurking, but you never let down, man. Respect. I appreciate that, bro. Definitely appreciate that. I remember and watched the video when Petty Roosevelt came out last year when we lost to the Brooklyn Nets, when they just came together in like 24 hours at the trade deadline. Cut the fuck up. Oh, yes, I was fucking hot. That, and then the game where we lost to the San Antonio Spurs, and all the Spurs did was a pick and roll. The whole game. It was just a pick and roll. I think on the post-game show that I just kept saying, to a simple pick and roll. To a simple pick and roll. That's crazy. When you reach a certain number of subscribers or number of videos, you should do the Chicago Bulls Central Haize Greatest Moments. That takes a level of editing that I don't know if I have the time to do with how much I post. Like, I almost did something like that for episode 1000, but I didn't have the time. The Bulls need to add size in the draft, and the first thing I see on a mock draft is a guard being drafted. I mean, listen, take mock drafts. Okay, let me see football CF Candy. Let me explain to you. So basically, mock drafts for basketball up until the end of the season really are only saying it's basically like a power ranking of the players, because they basically just go off the best players and kind of put them in a list. Usually, mock drafts don't really start taking into account what the team actually needs until after the season's over. And that's when you start seeing some changes in those mock drafts. So Big Rail says, but I appreciate you and the rest of the gang on the content for both channels. I appreciate that, brother. But and it's more than just both channels. So we got Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central, Chicago White Sox and Cubs Central, Chicago Blackhawks Central, Chicago Sky Central, NBA Central. Make sure you guys subscribe to the whole family, man. Haize was losing it so bad that I even had to warn newcomers and regulars to not take anything part. Oh man, listen, I'm glad that you did that, man. I'm glad that you did that. Rob says, "Where do you be getting all your Bulls gear from?" So it's mainly a few places. I get it from Lids, New Era, Fanatics, Pro Standard, Culture Kings. I've recently started getting stuff from Hibbett Sports. They have surprisingly a lot of bull stuff. Like surprisingly, Hibbett Sports and Rally Sports, I think is what it is. The stuff that's like out of stock at like New Era, sometimes they just have tons of it there. So be on the lookout for that there, man. But yeah, that's the most places I get stuff from. Sonny says the network's doing work. Hey, listen, shout out to C Dub, Bobby, Steve-O, Big Kev, Skokes over on Blackhawk Central, right? All those guys. Like, yeah, we're trying to build something, man. Chicago Cubs Central is already there. We got Chicago White Sox and Cubs Central. It's one channel. They host all the baseball from one channel. That was Big Kev's decision because Big Kev is old and I don't think he really understands algorithms. That's a little shot to Big Kev, but like to me, you want to separate those channels so each one can get in the algorithm separately, but he's trying to make it work. But yeah. Normally there's just power rankings, but it seems like guys doing it wanted to put fit into it. Like we can luck into the top 5 this draft and Lansar. That's our only hope, or we're cooked. No, there's some really good bigs in this draft. Like if we decide, so again, maybe not centers, or if you're looking at that, but the way that I look at it in this draft, and I've kind of already started a little bit of my analysis. So you guys already know I've talked about Filipowski for a while there. He's definitely a guy that I do think can definitely help the Bulls at that center position. And then you also have the guy from France, that I really like. Damn it, why can't I remember his name now? That's bad. Tijay Saloon, I believe it's not Tijane. He's a guy 6'9", 207 pounds, but he's like modern, prototypical, kind of more modern power forward prototype. I really like him as well. He's gonna have to put on some weight, but I like his skill set also. So there's definitely some options there for the Bulls. The bigger question is will they go after, right? That's the bigger question when it comes to the Bulls. So hey, Dalen wasn't there today, brother. He was out with a personal matter, and that may be why he didn't play either. By the way, Haize, I sent you a pic from the hat earlier. I saw it, bro. No, not Sar. Sar's the one who's going in the top 5. This is Tijane Saloon is I think how you pronounce it. Really good guy. If I wasn't so busy with NRL content in Australia, I'd love to be consistent with Bulls content alongside you, but it's super difficult maintaining sports across countries and time. I can only imagine, bro. Could only imagine, man. Haize, I know this is Bulls Central, but honestly, do the Bulls trade Justin or do they trade the number 1 pick and draft Marvin Harrison Jr.? I really don't know. From what I'm hearing, it seems like they're leaning Caleb. We'll see. I think Edie from Purdue is going to be trash, 10th man at best. Oh yeah, I don't like Edie. Cornelius, who's always in here, is talked a lot about Edie, but to me, Edie probably isn't going to be drafted. I think there's 2 French guys in the top 5. My bad, got confused. Oh, you're fine, bro. You're fine. Salute to Aiden. Oh, yeah. Aiden, listen, the fact that Aiden does what he does from being overseas, you got to give that man credit because I know there's times where that man just doesn't get any goddamn sleep. And just to think, if the Bulls had beaten the Pistons, they would be at 500 finally. No, we're still 2 games below 500. So we still would be 1 game below 500 right now had we beat the Pistons. So. But yeah, man, hey, Bulls get the dub, which is like I keep saying, that's the most important thing right now is that the Bulls get the dub, and we'll see what they do tomorrow night against the Golden State Warriors. It's going to be a long night for the Chicago Bulls fans. Pray for me because it's going to be long, and we're going to see how the Bulls handle it, man. If we re-sign tomorrow, how much cap do we have? I'm assuming we waive Lonzo, but also are we probably going to re-sign Pat? We can look at Claxton, but I don't know, man. So you can't waive Lonzo. So you can't just waive him. they either have to use the career-ending injury exception, which he would have to not be able to play at the start of the season. As far as DeMar, I don't know how much we're gonna like. It depends on what. So, for example, if DeMar signs for what his cap hold is, which is $40 million, it should be less than that, we hope. And Patrick Williams signs for whatever, the Bulls will have like $10 million in cap space. But keep in mind the mid-level exception, that's probably what they'll use. It's interesting, man. Only thing I really like about Edie is he's my fellow countryman. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. No Hibbert near Chicago, so definitely can find Bulls gear and stock. See, that makes sense then. That makes sense. Thoughts on Bronny going for Bronny isn't going to be drafted. Bronny James is one of the worst college prospects in the last 10 years. He's not going to go in the first round. But all right, y'all, I got to get ready to go do Locked On Bulls, man. I love you guys, man. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button as well. Like we said, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 20K subscribers by the end of the season. Let's see how close we can get. But yeah, with that said, follow the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.
I see red.